welcome back to Mexico News Network's Breaking News, broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Crisma. We still have wonderful and excellent information for you, so remember to browse through our website for more on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com, and don't forget to follow us on social networks. Remember, we are your #1 source of relevant and positive information on Mexico. Now let's move along with more. The development of a completely novelty type of telecommunications satellite has been finally approved. To be called Quantum and built in the UK, the 3.5-ton spacecraft will break new ground by being totally reconfigurable in orbit. Normally, the major mission parameters on satellites, such as their ground coverage pattern and their operating frequencies, are fixed before launch. However, Quantum is a European Space Agency telecoms project. However, its development is actually a partnership with private industry involving Paris-based satellite operator Eutelsat and the manufacturer Airbus Defence and Space. The parties signed a contract last week at the Harwell Science Campus in Oxfordshire. The ultra-flexible payload of Quantum will be prepared by Airbus at its Portsmouth factory and then integrated into the spacecraft bus or chassis at the Surrey Satellite Technology Limited in Guildford. SSTL is an Airbus subsidiary, in fact. Quantum should be delivered and ready for launch in 2018. The satellite will have the flexibility to take on new roles at any given time in coverage, in frequency band, and power usage. If it needs to be moved, perhaps to fill in behind another satellite that has failed in orbit, it will simply mimic the profile of the lost platform. Part of this capability comes from the use of advanced flat-faced array antennas that can electronically change their shape. Now, this is different from the curved, pre-shaped mechanical antennas incorporated into traditional satellites. James Hines from Airbus explained that the beauty of Quantum is that it uses active antennas on the uplink to the spacecraft and on the downlink to the Earth. Active means the coverage where you point can be moved around at the touch of a telecommand through a process called software definition. Now, this means, for example, that you can put power where the market demands it, or you can change your coverage to mitigate interference in places where someone is unintentionally or even intentionally jamming your signal. Eutelsat has yet to fully define the initial mission for Quantum. It will, however, likely work predominantly in the Q frequency band. Now, the Quantum program is valued at 250 million euros, with 71 million coming via the UKSA. Now, in other news, a cluster of submerged volcanoes has been discovered off Sydney, and scientists said on Monday that with the potential to help unlock the secrets of the seafloor between Australia and New Zealand. The 4 extinct volcanoes were found about 250 kilometers offshore from Australia's biggest city last month during a research for larval lobster breeding grounds. Australian National University volcano expert Richard Archelaus said that the volcanoes, which are spread across 20 kilometers, were a window into the underlying mantle right beneath the seabed. He said that they tell us part of the story of how New Zealand and Australia separated around 40 to 80 million years ago, and that they will also help scientists target future exploration of the seafloor to unlock the secrets of the Earth's crust. Now thought to be about 50 million years old, the volcanoes are at a depth of 4,900 meters, leaving them undetected until now, despite the largest being 1.5 kilometers across the crater rim and rising 700 meters from the seafloor. However, a recently commissioned Australian research vessel, the Investigator, is equipped with sonar that can map the seafloor at that particular depth. Archelaus told AFP that he thinks every time that they turn the spotlight on the seafloor, they see things that they've never seen before. His favorite phrase to people is, "We know the surface topography of Mars better than we know our backyard, and that is because there is no water in the way." Now, Archelaus said that by examining the composition of the lava from the extinct volcanoes, scientists could be able to determine the composition of the underlying mantle layer. He also said that it's a bit like going through somebody's garbage bin and determining what they have been eating. The research conducted by the investigator involved 28 scientists from several Australian universities, as well as the University of British Columbia and the University of Auckland. The voyage was enormously successful, said scientist Ian Suthers from the University of New South Wales. Now, not only did they discover a cluster of volcanoes on Sydney's doorstep, they were also very much amazed to find that an eddy off Sydney was a hot spot for lobster larvae at the time of the year when they were not expecting any of them. Continuing with today's information, archaeologists have named a newly discovered dinosaur, adding on to the Ceratopsidae family, which includes the legendary Triceratops. The 6-meter-long beast, which would have weighed over a ton, has been dubbed by a Wendyceratops phinohornesis, named after its discoverer, Wendy Sladova, who is esteemed in Canada after several fossil discoveries such as the Barysopolis slobodii. Some 200 bones were discovered in Alberta, Canada in the year 2011, and the dinosaur would have lived around 79 million years ago, according to the study published in PLOS One. It stuck to a similar vegetarian diet as its relative, the Triceratops, and would have looked rather sassy with a frill upon its head full of curled horns. Mike Ryan, curator of vertebrate paleontology at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History and co-author of the study, in fact said that beyond its odd hook-like frill, the Wendyceratops has a unique horn ornamentation above its nose that shows the intermediate evolutionary development between low, rounded forms of the earliest horned dinosaurs and the large, tall horns of Styracosaurus and its relatives. The locked horns of 2 Wendyceratops could have been used in combat between males to gain access to territory for females. Dr. David Evans, Timetry Chair and Curator of Vertebrate and Paleontology at the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, Canada, and co-author of the piece, said, Wendyceratops helps us understand the early evolution of skull ornamentation in an iconic group of dinosaurs characterized by their horned faces. The wide frill of the Wendyceratops is ringed by numerous curled horns. The nose, in fact, had a very large upright horn, and it's likely that there were horns over the eyes too. The number of gnarly frill projections and horns makes it one of the most striking horned dinosaurs ever found. Moving along to more information, a nanoparticle gene delivery system that destroys brain gliomas in a rat model, significantly extending the lives of the treated animals, has been developed by scientists. These nanoparticles are filled with genes for an enzyme that converts a prodrug called ganciclovir into a potent destroyer of the glioma cells. Now, glioma is one of the most lethal human cancers, with just a 5-year survival rate of only 12% and no reliable treatment. Advances in the understanding of the molecular processes that cause these tumors has resulted in therapies aimed at delivering specific genes into tumors, genes that make proteins to kill or suppress the growth of the tumor. Now, currently, this approach relies heavily on using viruses to deliver the anti-tumor genes into the target cancer cells. Unfortunately, viral delivery poses significantly safety risks, including toxicity, activation of the patient's immune system against the virus, and the possibility of the virus itself encouraging tumors to develop in other places. Now, Jessica Tucker, PhD, NIBIB Director of the Program in Gene and Drug Delivery Systems and Devices, said efforts to treat glioma with traditional drug and radiation therapies have not been quite successful. The ability to successfully deliver genes using these biodegradable nanoparticles rather than potentially harmful viruses is a significant step that reinvigorates the potential for gene therapy to treat deadly gliomas as well as other types of cancer. Jordan Green, PhD of the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, Biomedical Engineering Department, and a senior author of the entire work, and his international team described their findings in the February 24 issue of ACS Nano. The collaborators include colleagues from the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine departments of neurosurgery, oncology, ophthalmology, and even pathology, as well as Chengdu Hospital in China, University of the Negev in Israel, and the Istituto Neurologico C. Bestia in Italy. Biodegradable nanoparticles have recently shown promise as a method to deliver genes into cells. Their use for delivery avoids many of the problems associated to viral gene delivery. To demonstrate virus-free delivery, the very first goal of the group was to develop a nanoparticle that could efficiently carry DNA encoding a gene known as HSV-TK into cells. The HSV-TK gene produces an enzyme that turns the compound Gan-Cleover, which by itself has no effect on cancer cells, into a compound that is toxic to actively dividing brain cancer cells. Now, gene therapy system was tested in live rats with brain gliomas. Because it is very important that the nanoparticles spread throughout the entire tumor, they were quite infused into the right gliomas using convection-enhanced delivery, CED. Now, the method involves injection into the tumor and the application of a pressure gradient, which efficiently disperses the nanoparticles all throughout the tumors. The treatment resulted in the shrinkage of the tumor and a significant increase in survival when compared with controlled glioma-bearing animals that did not receive the combination treatment. The results provide the very first demonstration of a successful non-viral nanomedicine method for HSV-TK Gan-Cleover treatment of brain cancer, stated Dr. Green. The next step will include enhancing the efficiency of this nanoparticle delivery system and evaluating the technology in additional brain cells, cancer animal models. In the future, the investigators envision that doctors would administer this therapy during the surgery commonly used to treat glioma in humans. They are also very interested in testing the ability to deliver other cancer-killing genes and whether the nanoparticles could be successfully administered systematically, which could broaden the use of the therapy for a wide range of solid tumors and systemic cancers. Now stay with us, we'll be right back with more information on Mexico after these few messages.
Audio Jungle.